Welcome back, everyone. It's Eric from Canada here. Today we are back with another first impressions video. Today, taking a look at the new VMAX Rising set. Just got revealed in full for Japan. This is going to come out on the same day as our Sword and Shield set, so Japan's still a little bit ahead of us in terms of release schedule. This will probably make its way into our May set. I think it's Rebellious Crash, if I remember correctly, or Rebel Crash, something, or Rebel Clash, something kind of like that. So still a couple months before we actually get these cards, but all these just got revealed. I've actually not had a chance to really comb through these yet, so I'm going to be giving, by and large, my first impressions on these, save for a few cards that were revealed a little bit in advance before this entire full reveal. So of course we're still going to do our full set review later down the road, closer to May, but for the moment, just going to give you some of my knee-jerk reactions to a lot of these cards, and we'll have to see what we're kind of in store for here. So let's take a look and see what we got. So in total, it doesn't look like there's too many cards. This is going to be a smaller set for Japan. Typically they have like a big major set, then one or two like mini sets to kind of fill in the gaps before their next major set. So it looks like we have a Butterfree line. And okay, so Caterpie Metapod actually both have the adaptive evolution ability here, much like the old one from Flashfire. It's actually kind of appropriate because this will be our second Sword and Shield set. And this same ability was on the Caterpie Metapod from our Flashfire set, the second X and Y set as well. So kind of a nod back to that. Or was it Furious Fist? I think it was Flashfire. But anyways, so this Pokemon can evolve the first turn that you play it. Very cool. So let's see how good Butterfree is. That's really the question, to see if we're going to be interested in this. So Butterfree here. 1 for 30. Your opponent's active is Poison, Burn, and Confused. And then Cutting Wind to do 80 damage. So not too great. We will have to keep in mind for a lot of the non-Pokemon V in this set, we do have Twin Energy getting printed. It's like the pseudo double colorless energy reprint, only for non-Pokemon V and GX. So we'll have to keep that in mind when looking at cards like Butterfree. So the first attack is, I think, the more interesting one. Let's see. If they're burned, that's 50. After Poison, 60. It's just pretty underwhelming, I think. I really wish this hit harder, because I really don't mind having this evolution line. This is a great evolution line that Butterfree has, but the attacks on Butterfree are just like not quite good enough. If this was like 2 for, I don't know, 120 or even 110, that would be really good, because you could two-shot Pokemon V. That would be nice. Or if this first attack, if it's a base damage, was like 60 or something like that. Or if we had like some better modifiers to increase our fire, or not fire, but our burn damage or poison damage, that would also be good. I want to say there is something in format that'll do that. What is it? Maybe it's the new Toxicroak from Sword and Shield that increases poison damage. I forget, guys. I think there's something like that in the format, but I don't know if we have anything good enough to actually make Butterfree playable, so probably won't see too much play. Let's see, Shuckle, this one got revealed ahead of time. I don't remember it being good, though. Yeah, nothing good there. Abomasnow. Let's see, 80 Sleep and 140. Nothing too great there. We do have a new Vikavolt evolution line in deck, as we can see with the Grubbin. So up to our first Vs and VMAXs. So all of the starter Pokemon Vs did get revealed ahead of time. So I'm vaguely familiar with these. I didn't put too much thought into them yet, though. So let's see, Rillaboom V. This one's going to be a 10 promo as well, if I remember correctly. So search your deck for up to 2 basic grass Pokemon. Put them on your bench. Okay, not bad. Second attack, 3 grass, colorless, 220, does 30 to itself. It's okay. You do knock out most Pokemon V, like the base forms. So that's pretty nice, I suppose. We have Rillaboom VMAX. So these are actually our first VMAXs with more than one attack, because all of the ones in the Sword and Shield set just have one singular attack. So kind of interesting that they are starting to pile on additional effects onto these cards. So 330 HP, pretty tanky. 50 for 1, just kind of mediocre, it's fine. Then let's see, Max Barrage, 3 grass colorless. You may discard a 3 grass energy from this Pokemon, just 50 more for each energy you discarded in this way. So if you discard 3, it's 150. So we're hitting for 280. That's actually a really good number. It knocks out all of the tag teams really that are in the format, even Magikarp Wailord, since it's weak to grass. So that's actually not a bad attack here. And of course we have the Rillaboom and Sword and Shield to power this thing up if you want to. So that seems kind of okay. Not sure how good it'll be or not, just because like you can't get a Rillaboom and a manual attachment down, or like Rillaboom's ability and a manual attachment down to power this thing up in one turn. It takes 2 turns to power this up unless you have 2 Rillabooms in play. So it might be just too clunky getting this set up, but the numbers it hits for are actually like kind of decent. So have to keep an eye on this. Not too impressed though overall though. So next up we got my boy Applin. I've been stoked to see Appleton in the game. Appleton's one of my favorite new Pokemon from Sword and Shield. So let's see, base 1 to get tails. Temple's 30 for each head, so it's fine. 40 HP, pretty weak. Then Appleton, 90 HP, so pretty weak on this. If we ever get a level ball reprint, this could be kind of nice. Let's see, so flip coin of heads. Okay, so it has a Pokemon catcher as an ability. That's actually pretty solid. So we've seen this recently on I think it was Beedrill, or not Beedrill, Victory Belt from Celestial Storm had this same ability. Not too great. It's a stage 2 Pokemon. That's kind of the reason you have to run rare candies and all that type of stuff to get something like that into play. Appleton, however, I think actually might have some potential here just because it's a stage 1, so any deck that plays Malamar, or not Malamar, what am I saying today, guys? I'm getting so tongue-tied. Ditto Prism Star. You can evolve into this Appleton potentially and give yourself an additional catchering option. So I've already started putting Pokemon Catcher in a lot of my early Sword and Shield lists just for the same effect. And if we could have this built just natively into a stage 1, I think some decks actually really could like this. So Appleton, this actually might be my favorite card we've looked at so far. Its attack, really nothing impressive, but I do think this ability is pretty decent. Being a stage 1 and not a stage 2 like some of these other similar Pokemon actually might give this card some potential. So I like this one. We have Vulpix and Ninetales. See, Ninetales 30 plus 90 more if they have an ability. Not too bad, I guess. Then 90, your opponent's active is now asleep. I mean, I don't think we're particularly playing this. Well, I guess we could. It's a very good Zacian killer, actually, unless they play like Frying Pan. So this could be like another good Ditto target, potentially. So that seems okay to me. Like if you're playing some sort of like toolbox deck, maybe with Rainbow Energies or Aurora Energies, whatever it might be, this could be like some sort of toolbox answer to some of the metal Pokemon like Zacian. That seems kind of cool. Or if you're a deck that's already a grass deck and you're struggling against Zacian, if you play some copies of Blend Energy, or not Blend, Unit Energy, you can also play Ninetales in your deck as well. Again, maybe it's just like a Ditto target or just a 1/1 line. So this could actually be like a decent Zacian killer maybe for certain decks. Overall, like it's not a groundbreaking card, but it's like one I think I might like kind of keep in the back of my mind for my decks that happen to be like stage 1 decks, or maybe decks that are going to struggle against Zacian. So we have Arcanine. This was a card we did get revealed ahead of time. So Arcanine, 130 HP. Its ability says if this Pokemon has Burning Scarf attached, she gets plus 100 HP. Then its attack just does 130. So Burning Scarf, it's a tool card, and whenever the Pokemon it's attached to gets attacked, they become burned, if I remember correctly. So you basically become a 230 HP stage 1/1 prizer. So that's not too bad. Now the damage output on Arcanine is a little bit mediocre, but it's kind of okay because you two-shot most things in the format, like especially once you factor in burn into the mix as well. You can pretty much two-shot any of the tag teams that are going to be attacking into you. So I think Arcanine actually kind of seems okay for its tanking potential. Having 230 HP on a stage 1 that gives it 1 prize that can easily be powered up by Welder actually seems kind of okay. So Arcanine, I actually do want to experiment with this thing, and you can play like Lana's Fishing Rod to get back your Scarfs, to make sure you can have one for each of your Arcanine throughout the game. So that seems okay. So I think Arcanine actually seems like it might have, or it might be worth experimenting with. So we got Cinderace V. Let's see. If there's a stadium in play, this Pokemon has no retreat cost. That's pretty decent. 140 for 3. That's fine, I suppose. But let's see. Cinderace VMAX. 320 HP. So counter 30, then this attack does additional damage equal to the amount of damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon during your last turn. That's actually pretty cool because Cinderace really isn't going to get one-shot in most of the time unless you're going against a water deck. So most stuff is going to just have to attack into you, not knock you out. And, if they want to do any substantial amount of damage, they run the risk of being hit with counters. So it actually seems like a decent attack. I do kind of like this. And then its second attack, 2 fire, Colorless 170. Your opponent's active is now burned. So basically 190 for 3. So I actually kind of like Cinderace VMAX. This doesn't seem awful. Cinderace V is also okay. The ability in particular is one thing I really do like about it. So if you start with it, you can maybe retreat into like a Jirachi or something like that if you want to go that route. So I think this card has potential. It really just depends on the type of format. If we're in like a one-hit KO format, then this card's probably bad. But as long as we're going to have to be two-shotting VMAXs, I think counter actually could be a decent attack. So I think I might like this a little bit, even maybe a little bit more than Rillaboom. But I guess Rillaboom's damage output's a little bit more stable. But either way, this seems like an okay card to me. So going on from there, we have Galarian Mr. Mime evolution line. Nothing too special on the Mr. Mime, but the Mr. Rime, that's what we want to be taking a look at. So stage 1. Its ability, as long as this Pokemon is in play, prevent effects of opponent's attacks done to all of your Pokemon with energy attached to them. This does not remove existing effects. Okay, so one thing that's definitely going to be needed for whenever we start testing around with this is, does this apply to damage? Because a lot of times in the English translations, it'll say prevent all effects of attacks, including, or sometimes it'll say excluding damage. So that's a very important clarification, because if this will prevent damage, that's really insane. I feel like the fact that this is just an uncommon in Japan and not like a holo rare maybe indicates that this is probably just effects of attacks, like inflicting a status condition or preventing your opponent from attacking on the next turn or something like that. So more than likely, I'm going to assume that this isn't going to prevent damage based on the context of like the rarity of the card. Here, I feel like if this did prevent damage, this would have to be at least a holo rare, just because of how playable that would be. So assuming it's not going to prevent damage, seems okay. I mean, I don't really know how good this is going to be. We had the Espeon from Dark Explorers have basically the same ability, if I remember correctly. Saw very little play. It did get teched into a couple of decks right when it came out, but really didn't see any play other than that. And even when it did see play, again, we're talking about like very, very fringe play. So I don't think there's a good precedent for Mr. Rime, I'm sorry, to do that great. But I mean, it really just depends on the type of attacks we're seeing in the game right now. So, yeah, not too special. Now, one thing that would have been a little bit better is if it just prevented effects of attacks done to your Pokemon and not just by your opponents. You could play this to, like, if you're playing a Zacian deck, prevent your Zacians from not being able to attack on another turn. So that would have been cool, but that's not the case. So this card seems okay, unless, again, it does prevent damage. That would be insane, but again, right now, I'm not under the assumption that it does. So Mr. Rime seems just kind of meh for the moment. So we have Gyarados. This one did get revealed a couple days ago as well. So Gyarados, 180 HP. Jesus. Man, Gyarados is getting so tanky. What, the last one I think had 150, 160, something like that. The one back in is like, it might have been Team Up or maybe Unbroken Bonds. I forget which set it was. But yeah, Gyarados is getting up there in HP, which is cool. 4 retreat costs too, so we can use buff padding if we want. That seems okay. So 230 HP on a stage 1 prizer. Pretty decent. Now, its attacks are where things get a little bit tricky. You can power this thing up with Frostmoth or Triple Acceleration Energy. Frostmoth is probably just best, so maybe just running like a 1 prize like Frostmoth variant could be cool. I could see that. You can play Triple Acceleration Energy if you want to as well. And then the second attack here, 200. And you discard any Stadium in play. So that's fine. I think you actually can get this Gyarados powered up like pretty effectively with Frostmoth and or Triple Acceleration Energy. So the fact that you can do that and also 4 retreat costs, meaning you can use buff padding, might make Gyarados actually like kind of viable. Lightning weakness is actually pretty bad with Pikarom, seeing a lot of early hype. Again, right now, Sword and Shield isn't even out or legal, so we don't really know what the meta is going to be by the time this comes out. But right now, Pikarom looks like it's going to be a pretty wide played deck after the new set comes out. But Gyarados seems cool. I actually do want to mess around with this card. So we have Inteleon V and VMAX. So I really do like the art on this. This looks so sweet. First attack 40 to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Then 130, your opponent reveals their hand. Nothing too special. And Inteleon VMAX 320 HP. Lightning weakness, pretty bad. Like I said, with same thing with Gyarados. With Pikarom seeing some early hype. More Pico Dolls also seeing some hype as well. First attack 60, return energy from your opponent's active to their hand. That's actually kind of decent. I don't mind that too much. But second attack, 2 watercolors, 160. 60 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Now, the 60 snipe is actually pretty good. That's going to knock out things like Inkays, Dittos, a lot of the low HP basics that are in the game. So that attack's actually pretty good against any like conventional sort of non-Pokemon V-based deck, I think. So the second attack, pretty solid. You can two-shot most of the Vs and actually VMAXs as well. I think you're going to be hitting 320, so with a fine band, or not fine band, vitality band is the official translation now. You can hit 330, or I guess if you're doing 2 different attacks, you can scale that to 340 in total. So the second attack seems okay, but if you're playing Frostmoth, because that's going to be like really one of the only ways you can get this up and running, there might just be other things you'd rather play, like Lapras VMAX has an unlimited damage cap, so maybe you just want to go that route instead. Yeah, like all these starter evolutions, they all seem kind of okay. I'm not blown away by any of these, but Inteleon does seem kind of okay. Again, Frostmoth seems like the best partner, but Frostmoth has so many partners, it's hard to say if this will be the ideal way to run that deck, but has some potential though. So we have Cramorant. So see, 20 flip a coin of heads, prevent all effective attacks, including damage, done this Pokemon. So kind of mediocre. Then okay, it has Hydro Pump, 50 plus 20 for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. So this could be a decent one prizer potentially for the Frostmoth deck. The damage it has doesn't scale quite as nicely as Lapras VMAX or even Keldeo V. Keldeo V is 50 plus 30 if I remember correctly. So this one gives it one prize though. That's like the trade-off. So maybe Cramorant actually has potential as like a one-of for Frostmoth. We have Barrascuda. So let's see, 120 HP, 30 for 1, and then 130 for 1. Okay. Discard 2 water energy from your hand, or this attack does nothing. Okay, that seems kind of okay. There are some cards in this set that do come out that enable this attack a little bit easier. There's like a card that's going to allow you to search your deck for 2 water energies, I believe, and there's another that gets energy from discard back into your hand. So there are ways to run this, but I don't know if I'm building a Barrascuda deck. Like 130 is fine. You can 2-shot tag teams and stuff like that. But I just think of like if you're playing against an ADP deck, what are you doing to beat that? I just don't see how you would ever beat something like that. So 130 for 1, definitely good guys, but I just don't know if I'm actually going to play this though. So I have Heliolisk. Nothing too great there. Chargebug. Vikavolt. Okay. So Vikavolt did get revealed a little bit ahead of time. Let's take a look though. I didn't put too much thought into this card just yet. 150 HP, 2 retreat, powerful storm, lightning, double colorless, 60 plus 20 times the amount of energy attached to all of your Pokemon, and then lightning triple acceleration, 170 does 30 to itself. Okay, so the first attack is definitely the more interesting one here. Just trying to think. So if we're playing the battery Chargebug from Unbroken Bonds, each of those are basically going to be a plus 40 damage multiplier. So if you have all 4 Chargebugs in play, what is that, 160 right there? So you could do 160 plus the 60 base, was that 220? And that's not counting any manual attachments that you have in play. So assuming you have like at least 1 lightning somewhere on the board, 280? So that seems like a lot to get in play and requires you to not prize anything, but that's actually like kind of good. I'm not sure if the other Vikavolt might be better. Not sure, but this seems really cool. You have Electro Power as well, so another pretty cool Vikavolt to add to the card pool. I actually really want to experiment with this. Me and Carl from the channel are a big Vikavolt fan. So we'll definitely be excited to see how this thing does. But I think this first attack actually does have some potential. I do like that. So we have Boltund V. Actually, really love the art on this thing. Big fan of Boltund from Sword and Shield, one of my favorite new Pokemon. 200 HP to retreat, fighting weakness. First attack, search your deck for up to 2 lightning energy and attach them to your bench Pokemon any way that you like. Then shuffle your deck. Okay, and then 10 plus 30 for each lightning attached to your Pokemon in play. Okay. It seems like just kind of okay. Like, figure we have like 4 energy, just as an example, in play with Boltund here. That's 120, so you're hitting like 130 with this thing. You need really a lot of energy in play to really get good effect off of this. Now we do have Magnezone still in format, so that actually might be a consideration because Magnezone can like literally dump as many energy as you want. The Magnezone all the way back from Ultra Prism, I believe it was, or no, Forbidden Light I think is the lightning one. So that's still an option. I think his first attack is okay as well. I don't think you're playing this in Pikarom or anything like that though, just because Pikarom already has the tools to get off a turn 1 full blitz. So if you have the option to attack on turn 1, you'd rather do that instead of playing Boltund. So I think if you're playing Boltund, it's its own deck, or it's something entirely separate from Pikarom. I'll say that for sure. You're not playing this in Pikarom. So Magazone's probably the best partner for this thing. Not sure if that's good enough, but between Magnezone and all the other lightning support like Electro Powers, Boltund actually, it has some stuff going on, but definitely not one of my favorite lightning Pokemon we have right now. Dope art on this thing though, looks pretty sweet. So we got my boy Toxtricity. I am a huge Toxtricity fan. Really hope they do this guy justice. Let's see. 130. Lightning does 20 to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Your opponent's active is now poisoned. Okay, that's actually kind of interesting. And then Hammer Range is 90. So that's kind of cool. It's like the Tapu Koko promo. Now, of course, Tapu Koko promo was a basic, had 0 retreat as well. So that had some things going for it. But I still kind of like this card. Since we have E-Power and it just attaches or attacks for 1 single lightning energy. That seems pretty nice to me. Yeah, I'm just trying to think, though, if this will actually see play. The fact that you poison them as well is kind of nice, so you're effectively doing 30 and 20 spread to everything. Just with stuff having so much HP right now with VMAXs being entered into the mix, I'm not sure if this card is strong enough, but I really do like this attack. I just worry that the fact that it's on a stage 1 in a metagame where things have so much HP now, I'm not sure if this is quite as good of an attack as Flying Flip, but definitely a card I wouldn't mind messing with, but not one of my most anticipated cards we've looked at thus far. So we have Xatu. Actually, pretty nice art on this. I do like that. So you move an energy from one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to their active, then 10 plus 30 for each energy attached to the opponent's active Pokemon. Okay, so if they're Psychic weak, let's run through the math. If they have 3 energy on average, that's going to be, what, 90 plus 10, so you're only hitting 200 with weakness. I say only 200, if that tells you how much HP things have these days. But, yeah, I'm not sold on this. I really like the Ninetales as like a counter sort of attacker, better than this. Ninetales hits for 120, which is much nicer when you hit for weakness. Whereas this, it requires a good bit of energy to actually take like a one-shot on something out there. So, I mean, I guess this actually would probably knock out like a Mewtwo Mew deck. A lot of those are going to pile on additional energies to, use certain GX attacks or other attacks in the game. So that's an option, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I think the Ninetales is a cooler, like, single energy stage 1 sort of counter attacker like this. But just seems kind of meh. So we have Galarian, Corsola, and Cursola. I'm actually a big fan of the Cursola. This was one of the first cards that got revealed from this set. So let's take a look. Actually, let's take a look at this thing too. For a minute, I thought this had 0 retreat since the translation had 0. I was like, okay, this might be what we're talking about. We'll still mention it though. 80 HP, and for Psychic Energy, put 3 damage counters anywhere you want. Not bad for the pre-evolution, but Cursola here has Perish Body. If this Pokemon is your active and knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, flip a coin. If heads, the attacking Pokemon is knocked out. That is pretty sweet. We've seen this in the past on the Gengar from Stormfront, I believe it was. There was also a Chandelure, I think, from Phantom Forces. I think it was Phantom Forces that had the same ability. That one didn't really see play, but the Gengar is the more important one. But the fact we're in a format with 3 prize Pokemon, if they knock you out and you're lucky enough to flip heads, then that's pretty insane. You're basically getting 3 prizes for very little effort here. So let's see. We also have Corner 60. The Fang Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. So this attack really isn't very good, but I like this maybe as a potential hit and run target. So if you're playing something like Behemoth as an example, going for like an item lock, plus throwing this up, meaning they can't use something like Pokemon Catcher or Custom Catcher or Great Catcher to get around this thing and are forced to attack into it. That actually seems really good because remember we do have Air Balloon to actually retreat these 2 prize wall Pokemon now. So that's kind of like where I'm thinking is like hit and run style decks, or even maybe like a Hitmonchan deck in Standard might be able to work too. But I think Behemoth's really where I think things get a little exciting. I mean, it's a stage 1. That's kind of the big downside compared to like Pokédoll or Gumi or some of the other basic walls. But I really, really do like this ability. And I really want to mess with it. Especially, like I said, if you're playing this with Behemoth and they can't play catcher effects to get around this, and you can flip heads, then you're in such a good spot with a card like this. So I'm a fan of Cursola. I definitely want to mess around with this. Let's see. Indeedee looks pretty bad. I will, however, say this, though. If Spread does become good, Indeedee is such an easy tech card you can include. Just a colorless heal 30 from all of your Pokemon. So if Spread becomes good, Indeedee honestly kind of like nullifies that. So yeah, Spread's probably never going to be good as a result of this. It's such an easy card to tech for. So like my boy Toxtricity just gets railed by Indeedee here. But anyways, going on, let's see. So we got Dragapult's first introduction into the TCG. One of the, I think the community's like most beloved new Pokemon from Gen 8 for good reason. I think Dragapult's pretty cool dude. Well, let's see what its pre-evolutions. Dracloak has a decent attack, but unfortunately it's on the stage 1. Search your deck for a Dreepy and put it on the bench. Really wish that was on Dreepy, just because we want to rare Candy and bypass the Dracloak altogether. But it's fine, I guess. So let's see, Dragapult. 150 HP, 0 retreat is definitely good. I do like that. Let's see, Infiltrate. If this Pokemon would be damaged by an attack, flip a coin. If heads, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon. So this is kind of like the Noivern back from Breakthrough, I believe it was. Or Furious Fist, that's the one. The Noivern Break was in Breakthrough. But yeah, so same ability that we saw on that. That's pretty cool. But let's see its attack. 120 for 2 Psychic. Put 3 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon any way that you like. I think, man, I feel like this card is a little bit underpowered. Like, honestly, this attack should be 1 for 120 and spread 3. The fact it's 2 Psychic Energy is kind of a bummer. Or if this was like a Psychic and Colorless, that would also be acceptable because we could play Counter Gain. We can maybe even play like Tapu Koko Prism plus a couple of Lightning Energies. So, man, this card's like so close to being decent. If this is 2 Psychic, this needs to be like 140 or something like that, or 150. Something to where, yeah, I think maybe even 160. Let us have the option to knock out the Denays. Its ability is cool, but it's coin flip. And its attack is slightly underpowered given its attack cost. So you're going to have to run like a 1-1 Malamar or like a 2-2 Malamar if you want this to be good. But you're already playing a stage 2, so it just makes deck building really hard with this. So, man, they like almost gave us a decent Dragapult, but I think this is probably not quite good enough to see play. So we have Farfetch'd and Sirfetch'd. So let's see, 40, that's fine. Then second attack, 180. This Pokemon can't use Meteor Assault again as long as it is the active Pokemon. So 180 is fine, I guess, but I'm just thinking, like, if I'm trying to play fighting, am I really playing Sirfetch'd of all things? Like, I guess the big thing with this is if you have a Karate Belt, you can just attach a single twin energy to this thing and it can attack. So that's kind of cool if you're behind on prizes. So that seems okay. Well, I guess you could play Zygarde to get your additional fighting energy and play a little bit more quickly if you do want to go that route. So, I mean, I guess there is the stuff in format that exists to play this card. And if you're behind on prizes, you can hit 220 to knock out Zacian. So, Actually, like kind of the more I think about it, the more I kind of like this card. Basically, only because we got Twin Energy. This card would be utter trash if Twin Energy wasn't a thing. So actually, the more I think about it, I kind of like Sirfetch'd. Not like a insanely groundbreaking card, but you can play greens with it too, which is kind of cool. So you play greens, Zygarde. I mean, you could play Diancie, not if you're playing greens though. So I don't know. Maybe it's worth taking a look at Sirfetch'd. It seems okay the more thought I put into it, but not amazing though at the same time. So you got Barbarical, 50, no resistance. And if you have more cards in hand than your opponent, does 160. Nah, if I'm getting the same amount of energy down on a stage 1 fighting Pokemon, I'm just gonna play the Sirfetch'd we just looked at. So Sandaconda V. Interesting there's no Sandaconda VMAX since the Gigantamax is a thing. So maybe that's something we'll get later, but very interesting exclusion here. So Sandaconda V, 220 HP. So 30, attach a fighting from discard to this Pokemon. That's pretty decent for a type that has pretty bad energy acceleration. And then 220, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Okay. So it's actually kind of like a fighting Zacian V when you think about it. This can actually one-shot Zacian as well, which is really nice. Now, the big thing is we don't actually have like fighting Patch or fighting Saucer or anything like that. So not quite as good as something like Zacian, especially having to discard 2 fighting is just really bad for a type that doesn't have energy acceleration. Now, I guess you could play Porygon Z if you want to and give it some energy acceleration that way and just play like unit energies and rainbows, but that seems kind of bad. Yeah, not a huge fan of this card. It's definitely okay, but the fact that it's like honestly, I think the secondary effect on this and Zacian should be mixed. This should have the can't attack next turn clause, and the Zacian should have the discard energy clause since it has Metal Saucer. So that would have been a little bit better, but it's an okay card. It's just, yeah, with bad energy acceleration, the discard effect I think is too bad to really make this a great deck. Unless there's some fighting acceleration that I'm forgetting, not a big fan. So Phalanx, this is definitely, I think, one of the cooler new Pokemon that Sword and Shield gave us. Call for Family, search your deck for 2 basics, put them on your bench. Okay. And then Team Attack, 30 for each Pokemon on your bench with Phalanx in its name. So if you have 3, like, if you don't prize any Phalanx, you have all 4 of them in play, you're only hitting 90. That feels really bad. So maybe if this was 30 plus 30 for each Phalanx in play and not just on your bench, I would like this more. Kind of a bummer. Like, Phalanx is such an interesting Pokemon. I was really hoping they would give this card like some sort of interesting effect. But yeah, the second attack is just not very good. The damage output is just way too low for what it's asking of you. Call for Family is decent. Like, it does power itself up, but you just can't build around this, unfortunately. So you have Skuntank. See, 50 for 2, then 80. Your opponent's active is poison, and they can't retreat. Not very good. Another bad Skuntank to add to the card pool, unfortunately. Seems to always be a Pokemon that gets like mediocre cards. So we have our first Grimmsnarl coming out. And doesn't look like the pre-evolutions are too good, but let's see Grimmsnarl here. Alright, so 170 HP, weak to grass. So long as this Pokemon is your active, your opponent's active pays 1 colorless more to use its attacks. That's actually a really good ability, I have to say. Big fan of that. Then Dark DCE, 100. Plus 30 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Okay, so that, I mean, there's some nice built-in synergy here. So the ability makes them attach more energy. The attack does more damage for each energy attached to them. So let's say they have 3 energy on average attached. You're hitting 190. If they have 4 energy, that's 220. So like, especially against Zacian V, that could be good since Zacian will need 4 energy to attack into this. I think 3 energy in total is like a common attack cost. So the fact that most attackers are going to need 4 to attack into you is pretty good. So effectively 220 against a lot of the major decks out there. That's really not bad. The issue is that you have to power this thing up with manual attachments. Like, there's really not any particularly great dark acceleration. Like, you can play the Weavile GX red and blue combo if you want to, but you're already playing a stage 2, so that just seems kind of bad. Like, honestly, you only really have enough room in your deck, I think, for your 4/2/4 Grimmsnarl line, your Jirachis, and like maybe a thin like 1/1 line of something else, and like, or maybe a 2/2 if you really want to stretch it. But I just don't think, like, I think you really have to really go in on something like Weavile to get this powered up, and I just don't think that you're going to have the space to run that engine. You're going to need other supporters to get set up, and I don't think you're going to be able to take a turn off most of the time to use red and blue. So, I don't know. It remains to be seen. This attack cost is a little clunky, but thanks to Twin Energy, there is a chance this could be decent. So, definitely a card to keep an eye out for. Good ability, for sure, though. Let's see, Bronzong. 70, switch this one, your bench Pokemon. Then your opponent switches. Not too great. A new Aegislash line. Okay, let's see. Pre-evolutions aren't too good, but Aegislash 140. As long as this Pokemon is in play, any damage done to your Pokemon by attacks reduced by 30, and you can't use more than one of these abilities. Okay, so effectively you have 170 HP. It's kind of cool. I guess if you really wanted to, you could actually play this with like the Zacian Luck Metal deck and reduce your damage by 90 with Lucario Melmetal, Frying Pan, and Aegislash. Probably bad though, because I don't think you want to run a stage 2 in like your Zacian deck, but it's a cool thing you could do. Now, this could actually be a decent one-of for, like, if you want to play the Aegislash from Unified Minds for some reason still. You could play this as a one-up in that deck since you're already playing the pre-evolutions, so that seems okay to me. But other than that, I really don't see a good home for this, so probably not too good as far as I can see. So we have Duraludon. Let's see, 130... Oh yeah, this is the like pseudo Registeel reprint that we're getting. So Colress does 30 and attach a metal from discard to one of your Pokemon, then just a vanilla 110. So Registeel had a very similar attack all the way back from Crimson Invasion. Saw a little bit of play. I'm not sure if this will or not. Like, I feel like a lot of times if you're taking a turn off from attacking with a Zacian V, you probably would rather just use Intrepid Sword, but this might potentially be good in like the Lucario Melmetal version of the deck, I could see, just because this makes your math a little bit better. Because your Zacian hits for 230 plus another 30. That could potentially knock out like some sort of lower HP tag teams out there. Actually, is there even anything relevant with 260? Oh, Pikarom. Yeah, I guess so. Oh, but Pikarom resists you either way. Because Mewtwo and Reshizard both have 270. ADP is 280. So yeah, I don't know if the damage is relevant enough to actually see play here. So I'm not sold on this just yet. So you have Diggersby. Okay, discard the top 6 of your deck. Does 30 for each card discarded in this way. That seems really awful. I mean, you can do 180 for 1 triple acceleration energy. That's good, I suppose. But discarding 6 cards, that is just such a harsh sort of effect there. You're milling yourself. You would need something that really benefits from you having a lot of cards discarded. So maybe if you want to play like Victini Prism Star or something like that, that could be good. Because you could like mill a bunch of fire energies potentially and then take a big knockout later in the game. So that seems like the only thing off the top of my head. Again, I'll have to comb through the card pool maybe closer to the release of this set. Maybe there will be something else that comes out. But right now, this card seems pretty bad. We have Hawlucha. Nothing great. And Dubwool V, our last Pokemon. So its ability reduces damage by 30. Pretty cool. Then its attack 3 for 120 does 30 more for each prize your opponent has taken. Okay, so let's run through the math on this. If our opponent has 5 prizes taken, that's going to be 150. So you're hitting 270. That's actually a pretty good number because you can knock out most tag teams. ADP is really going to be the only thing that's popular right now that you're not going to one-shot. So that's actually like not too bad. You can play this in any welder deck. This actually could be maybe a good like closing Pokemon for Malamar, just because if you're just going in with Giratinas the entire game, you're inevitably going to get down to one prize, or your opponent's inevitably going to get down to one prize. So Dubwool V actually could be a good late game hitter. Just throw this thing up at the end of the game and just say, hey, I'm just going to swing for 270. Can you deal with this, or am I going to sweep you? So that actually seems like kind of a cool idea there. We'll have to see. But the fact that it's colorless means this card does have a chance to see play, since it has a lot of different engines that can power it up. So that's all of the Pokemon. Let's see what we got for trainer cards. I think most of these actually were revealed pretty far ahead of time. Full Bucket, this is the one I mentioned earlier. Search your deck for 2 water energies. That's definitely good, especially with Frostmoth coming out in Sword and Shield. This pairs very nicely with that. Better than Viridian, since Viridian's only getting you 1 energy. So I definitely like that. We have Burning Scarf. This is the card I mentioned with Arcanine earlier. So if it's attached to a fire Pokemon and they are damaged by an attack, then the attacking Pokemon is now burned. So pairs nicely with Arcanine. Beyond that, really not sure if this is going to see play. It really just depends on the math that we're trying to, like the certain numbers we're trying to hit in the game. And I think a lot of the times you might just prefer Vitality Band instead. Since this is passive, your opponent can like catch around this and play around it. So I'm not sure where it's going to fit in outside of Arcanine, but it's something to consider for fire decks going forward. So next we have Sonia. But search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, or up to 2 basic energy, reveal them, put them into your hand. So this card's okay. I think cards like this really do take a hit after the change to the first turn rules, though. So it makes a card like this a bit worse. So this is actually kind of nice for like 1 prize decks that play a lot of basics that don't have 60 HP or less. Basically decks that can't use Elm is what I'm trying to say here. Now I really wish this was some combination of 2 basic or basic energy. The fact that you have to only choose Pokemon or only choose energy is a little bit annoying. So I really wish they would have allowed you to combine these in some way, or if it was up to 2 basic Pokemon and up to 2 basic energy, that would also be nice. I think this card would see a little bit more play. But for the moment, not a big fan of Sonia. I mean, it's better than Pokemon Fan Club. Like, you can also just sell all of your copies of Pokemon Fan Club. This is just instantly better. But I'm just still not sure if it's good enough to see play. So we got our girl Skyla back. I did see this. I saw some people talking about this online last night. So Skyla, we've had this for many, many sets. Came out all the way back in Boundaries Crossed. Came out again back in, oh my god, what is the set? Breakpoint, I believe, was when it got a reprint as a full art. But search your deck for a trainer card, reveal, put it into your hand. So pretty straightforward card. I'm actually not sure what deck I want to play this in. It's really hard to say. I think a lot of times I'm just going to prefer to like dump my hand and draw 7, or play a Marnie or something like that. There's also other cards right now in the format that do similar things as Skyla. So we have Green still in the format. We have Volkner, Rosa. So when Skyla first came out, it didn't really have that sort of competition in terms of like types of searching supporters that existed to compete with this. But we have a lot more in today's format, so it remains to be seen if Skyla's going to see play. But it's still nice to see an old favorite like this return into the game. We have Milo, another card revealed ahead of time. So you discard up to 2 cards from your hand, then draw twice as many cards as you discarded. So I'm not a big fan of this. The fact that it's only 2 cards for each one you discard, pretty bad, honestly. So think of a card like Hop, where it's just draw 3. For this one, you have to discard a card from your hand to draw 2. So that doesn't seem very good at all. Now, of course, this does give you the option to draw up to 4 cards in total, which is kind of nice. But again, discarding 1 card for every 2 that you draw, not a huge fan of this. I mean, we did see Sophocles see some play at some point in Blacephalon decks. It effectively does the same thing as this. But yeah, I'm not really sold on Milo right now. But it's okay. It's not a god-awful supporter, but it's definitely not very good either. So next we have Turfield. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a Grass Evolution Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into their hand. Then shuffle their deck. So, of course, you can play this with Butterfree, because you can go Caterpie, evolve into Metapod, and then use this to search your deck for Butterfree and immediately evolve into it. So you could do that. Butterfree's pretty bad, though, so I don't think you probably should play it in that. Trying to think some of the other stuff. Of course, you can play it in like the Rillaboom VMAX deck if you want to play that. That seems good. Trying to think of some other grass evolutions. There's Breloom still in the format and Amoonguss, so maybe in something like that could work. You know, right now I'm just kind of blinking. I have to look through the card pool, see if there's anything else that's notable. But I think Rillaboom might be one of the bigger contenders for something like this, though. Next, we have Training Court. This is the stadium that lets you get back energies. So once during each player's turn, that player may choose a basic energy from their discard pile, reveal it, and put it into their hands. So kind of like the opposite effect of Viridian Forest. So that's kind of cool. We did just get Energy Retrieval come out in Sword and Shield, so I'm not sure if Training Court's really going to see play or not. Yeah, I'm really not sure about that. So I'm not too enthusiastic about this. I think a lot of the times you rather play Viridian Forest if you're going to, just because it's a lot more reliable just to search an energy out of deck as opposed to waiting for energies to fall into your discard pile. So not a bad card, but it's probably just outclassed by some of the other options that we have. And we have Twin Energy, of course, probably the best card, honestly, in the set that we've seen. So it's kind of like the old Double Colorless Energy, but a little bit different and maybe even a little bit more balanced for today, too. So it provides 2 colorless energy, but if it's attached to a Pokemon V or Pokemon GX, it only provides 1 colorless energy instead. And I have to say, I'm a really big fan of this card. I really like it when Pokemon like prints cards with these exclusionary effects on the on like the big ultra rare cards. So anything that really helps one prize decks, stage 2 decks, etc. succeed is going to be really good. So I honestly hope they continue to print more cards like this that give you these very strong effects, but exclude them from your Pokemon GX, Vs, VMAXs, all of that type of stuff. So I'm a huge fan of Twin Energy. You know, there's too many cards in the card pool, I think, to really go through to get a good idea of the best home for this. In standard format, we do have Weezing still, so this actually might potentially bring back the Weezing archetype. We have this triple acceleration energy, so I think we have some ways to get that deck up and running again if you do want to go that route. And expanded is where things get really interesting because this doesn't actually apply to Pokemon EX. So that means a deck like Seismitoad can play like in total 8 double colorless energies effectively and not have to worry about being like Faba'd out of the game or anything like that. You can play this in Vespiquen, Night March. Just there's a ton of cards in the past that have used DCE. And we'll have to kind of, again, look back through the card pool and see what is going to be able to abuse this. But this definitely is going to be, I think, one of the best cards in the set for sure. So let's take a look back through real quick just to do a recap. Twin Energy, obviously great. As far as trainer cards, I'm not too blown away by any of them. Some of these are okay. Like Turf Field is good if we ever get any grass, like viable grass Pokemon like Rillaboom. Full Bucket, good for Frostmoth. Dubwool isn't too bad. Being a smaller set like this, there's really not too many cards in general, so it's hard to say what's going to be good. I think Grimmsnarl has potential, but its attack cost is a little awkward. Let's see. Sirfetch'd actually better than I think I was starting to think at first. Dragapult, unfortunately, is a little bit of a disappointment. Cursola, this is actually one of my favorite cards. I'm not sure if it's like the best card in the set, but it's definitely one of my favorite cards just on a personal level. Really want to try this thing out. Toxtricity, we'll have to see how good that's going to be. Vikable, honestly a decent stage 2. We'll probably experiment with that. I know I will for sure. I am a sucker for bad stage 2 Pokemon, so I will probably mess with that. All of the starter VMAXs in general, they're all just kind of like okay to me. I'm not like particularly impressed by any of them. The only thing that makes them, I think, good is honestly their HP. Like their attacks are all just like pretty okay. Gyarados might be decent with Frostmoth. Galarian Mr. Rime, we'll have to see how this thing is going to get translated when it gets revealed internationally. But like I said, if it does prevent damage, this card's insane. If not, this card's probably terrible. Let's see. Arcanine, I think, has some potential. Ninetales, honestly, not too god-awful. My boy Appleton, stoked to see Appleton in card form. I'm a fan of this too, so this is another one of my favorite cards. Let's see, we have Rillaboom. And yeah, we're back to the beginning, guys. So some cool things in this set. It's, like I said, not one of Japan's bigger sets. So just in general, there's not too much to really pick from, but definitely some cool things. Twin Energy is definitely, I think, going to be the big one overall from this set that people are going to be looking forward to in the future. But, you know, what do you guys think about this set? Definitely sound off below in the comment section. What cards here are you excited about? Or you think there's anything I'm not giving enough credit? Of course, feel free to sound off down below in the comment section. And of course, guys, important to remember, these are just going to be my first impressions. There might be some combos I'm kind of overlooking here, but once we do our full set review closer to May, we'll definitely have more in-depth thoughts on these cards when that comes out. But until then, if you guys did enjoy this content today, feel free to like and subscribe and consider supporting this channel by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/rarecandytcg or by picking up some merch from our online store, rarecandytcg.com. It would mean a lot. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.